All right, we'll see whether or not the battery works on this one. All right. Greetings and felicitations again, my fellow Perceptive Purple people. I wanted to take a few moments to talk with you about a speech that I watched recently that you should be made conscious of. In this, I'm going to replace one single word in this snippet of the speech and see if you can think of any parallels. I apologize in advance. The quote. The Jew is fundamentally motivated by envy, by hatred, by jealousy. The Jew looks at what is beautiful and what is good and what is natural and is filled with envy and hatred. The Jew looks at a perfect family with the perfect life and a perfect job and perfect kids that goes to church every Sunday and is filled with a feeling of inadequacy and jealousy, and they covet and they turn those emotions ultimately into a desire to subjugate, to oppress, and inflict pain and suffering. End quote. Now, I truly do apologize for the distasteful way that I put this, but it is an extraordinarily important point to see that this comparison in crystal clarity. What just sounded like a textbook propaganda speech from Nazi Germany in World War II was just uttered by the current Deputy Chief of Staff for the President of the United States, Stephen Miller. Just this past July 16th of 2026, and obviously the only word that I substituted was the word Jew for what he actually used, leftist. And this was only a small sample, folks. He seriously could have plagiarized this from the pages of Mein Kampf using leftist instead of Jew. It was naturally spiced with language twists to deceive the listener into believing one thing actually means another. Examples include, but are definitely not limited to. So, to be specific, we've seen some of our nation's cities in America, like Washington, D.C. and New York City, something, again, it's an American term, but it's known as jury nullification. This is when a person is obviously guilty of a crime, but the juror, because they're ideologically sympathetic to the perpetrator, will not sentence them to the crime which they have obviously committed. Do you see it? Now, let me point it out to you. Jury nullification is where a jury has determined that to convict a party that is apparently guilty of a crime is inappropriate. That's true. But it's done for many reasons, usually in response to jury-perceived government overreaches, and very rarely occurs in reality, or at least did. No, what he was referring to is the fact that their DOJ, gutted of its real prosecutors to be replaced by irresponsible and politically motivated goons of Trump's, has started to lose case after case after case. But this is not due to any jury nullification of any guilty party, barring perhaps the assault with a deli weapon, one case in D.C., but by the fact that cases being brought are pure bullshit, and the juries of our fellow citizens can tell that. So they are rendering correct adjudications of innocent because the government isn't doing their job correctly. Oh, did you also notice the twisting of the wording regarding the use of jury nullification requires all 12 jurors to come to a finding of not guilty? But the implication is that a single leftist juror somehow has this power. Next up, if the leftist learns and observes that their violence and criminal activity helps and ultimately succeeds in achieving the desired political end, they will be endlessly emboldened. Here in the United States, we've seen a growing and deeply alarming increase in attempted assassinations against public figures. Most notably, of course, the multiple assassination attempts against President Trump, the successful assassination attempt against Charlie Kirk, and many others. This is an attempt to gaslight you into believing that the alleged shooter, Charlie Kirk, a well-documented, very right-wing actor, was actually left-wing terrorism. Oh, he doesn't stop there, folks. There's lots more, believe me. So I will only show you one more example of the linguistic twisting of words to try to twist your mind. Quote, but again, I point to the examples in our own country where for example, our Immigration and Customs Enforcement, which has been duly statutorily authorized to carry out routine enforcements of immigration law, has been subjected to an over 8,000% increase in violent assaults. These are not one-off episodes. This is repeat, systemic, organized, funded insurrection and armed resistance against the federal government. There was a sniper from a sniper nest who using an assault rifle, tried to shoot ICE officers in Dallas, Texas. Again, we see the twisting of a clouded incident, namely the sniper incident in Dallas, where two detainees were killed and another detainee injured with no injuries to any government personnel at all, with the intent of the politically ambiguous suspect only being represented by those corrupted DOJ goons after his death. In short, neither of these incidents are examples of leftist terrorism, yet, like Trump's propaganda speech a few nights prior, somehow presented as examples of the opposite of what they actually are. Seems that Orwell knew what he was talking about, huh? And you can bet that it's only going to get worse as the pressure mounts on the Trump regime to try to hold on to power by any means necessary. So what are your thoughts about this? Do you find our position reasonable? Do you have more logical and or rational ideas on the subject? Do you be prepared for vigorous yet polite debate? But let's hear it. As always, I'll see you in the comment section below. Till our next chat, remember to keep your balance and stay purple, people. We'll see you again real soon. And let's get America together again.